Hey guys, this video is about the 5-day sequence. So what's the 5-day sequence? Well, the reason I've been telling you to get an email out this week is because you have to remember, and the Christmas holidays accentuates the fact that this needs to be done. The person on the other end, the seller, does not know you. And so there's a period of courting that needs to take place. And so because he does not know you, and even if you were a well-known firm, either way, but specifically because you're not known, you have to warm the seller up. And the way you warm the seller up is with a 5-day sequence. And again, this sequence does not have to be 5 days. It could be 5 emails over a 10-day. And that's totally up to you as well. But the purpose of the 5-day sequence is the warm-up. So, for example, you send out an email, and this works well when you do a landing page. You send out an email, they go to the landing page, they download, say, an ebook or whatever it is you're trying to do, and so now you've got a message that they've come into your circle through the download or through your funnel. And so now what happens is, the first thing you want to do is to send out an email, say thank you so much for downloading the resource, blah, 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 or scheduling a meeting or whatever it is you've done. And so that sequence, that first email becomes an acknowledgement that they've come into your world. Okay, thank you so much for downloading the resource. And then the next sequences of emails can go all different types of ways. Here's an example. Once you've done the thank you, then within that same email, you could explain to them, now over the next few days, I'm going to share a little bit more information about who we are and how we work, who we are and our process, something of that nature. So now you've done the thank you. You've introduced yourself again, because you did that in the very first email before they went to the link. So you reintroduce yourself and your firm and your purpose. All right. And then you explain to them, now just let me take a few days to kind of explain to you how we work. And then you start going into the next few emails to do that. One of those emails could be one of the things we do is financing. One of the things we do is customer financing. One of the things we do is marketing. All right. But I would strongly suggest that you stay in the M&A and not deviate too far out. All right. And if you are, it's got to be congruent to M&A. All right. And so you can talk about finance. And I know some of you want to do financing because you think there's big dollars and all that kind of stuff. All that may be true. But the first thing you have to do is get the business owner firmly in your circle. And the way you do that is to continue introducing yourself and your services as a sequence. And so the reason I'm telling you again that you want to get an email out this week is because of the imprinting. It takes a while, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 contacts. And during the holidays, even more so. So if you wait to get your first email out, and today is Thursday rather. If you wait to see now you get every weekend, which are good days to contact business owners, by the way. But during the holidays, it's harder to get them. Either they're out with their families or they're out working, if they're handyman or in home improvement business, something of that nature. So it's important, the timing in the mornings and in the evenings. So when you're doing those follow-up sequences, the 5-day could even be, the first one goes out in the morning. Hey, thank you so much and then later in the evening, you could do your intro. You could do the beginning of the different services you offer, and then so you can do it all different kinds of ways. It's really up to you. But more importantly is the content of the emails. That's what you want to work on. You've got a lot of information that you can put together a sequence in all different types of ways. What I strongly suggest you do is you send that information to me so we can review it. And again, You want to be doing this as we're speaking. I prefer not to be doing this 3 weeks from now, because you decided 3 weeks from now you want to get out your first email. You need to do it now. Okay? So again, one of the reasons you're doing this is because of the holidays. You want to make sure that you are top of mind. And so the 5-day sequence, no matter how you lay it out, is designed to keep you at top of mind. So when the guy first responded, yes, I'm possibly interested in selling my business. Yes, I want to have a valuation done. He's in your world now. All right. So you really have to isolate that person and to begin to confidently and working on that person to get them, and that's what the sequence is all about. So you want to say the first sequence should be, thank you so much for setting up an appointment. Thank you so much for responding to my voicemail, or whatever it may be. Or thank you so much for downloading the resource, which is one of the more popular ones. All right, whatever it is, it begins the sequence. And quite honestly, it doesn't even have to be that. It can just go on regardless. So if you send out 100 business owners emails, then just start the sequence that way. You don't have to start with a thank you. You can just start with an introduction. My name is Gregory Evans. I'm with Innovative Capital, or whatever the name of your firm is. I just want to touch base, and then start the sequence that way, and then begin to explain to them over the next few days what I want to do is introduce our firm and what our process is, and blah, 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 blah. Now, of course, it works best when you're working off a get response where they've already responded, either through clicks or they've already responded by opening the email. That's really what because if you send out 100 and 25 people respond, and of those 25, 7 of them clicks, those are the ones you work on. You go in reverse order. You work on the clicks first, and then you work on the opens. Okay? So hopefully that gives you something to work with. I've got the resource attached. And for those who have not done it at all yet, I strongly suggest that you do that today. You get that first email out if you haven't done it already, because I've only got a couple of people who've even done it. Then what you want to do is get an email. You can do it throughout the day. Take your time and then put in your get response and schedule it to be sent out at 6:30. Your time. Around that time the business owner gets home, he's still looking at his email. He's eating dinner. He's still looking at his email, because he's the self-employed. He's the man at the top. He's always going to be looking at his email, particularly in the range of businesses, in that $750 to $2 million range. They're big, but not yet big enough that he's not still in the cell phone. So quite honestly, just take this information and hopefully you'll find this useful. But again, it starts with that first email, and I've only gotten emails to review from a couple of folks, and so you're a little behind. We're already talking about the sequence, and you haven't sent the first email. So kind of get on the horse here if you're interested. And I'm telling you, you want to do that now, so that way, see, if you get the first email out now, then the sequences will run throughout the rest of the year. And that's imprinting. It's just like commercials that you see on a regular basis with the State Farm agent. They're constantly, that State Farm, constantly after every game, State Farm, after every game, State Farm. So during this period of time, it is imperative that you have a sequence going so that you can be top of mind. So when you get to the beginning of the year and the guy pulls the trigger, or you get a commitment. See, you should be trying to get some type of commitment in here, because when you're doing this, one of the things that's going to happen is the commitment starts with getting some basic information like his PLL and his tax returns, so that we can do a evaluation to give him an idea of what business is worth. And so, as a broker, one of the things I always ask the guy, and when I did the same thing in taxes, because I learned it, at a consulting firm a long time ago, is asking him, what do you think the business is worth? Do you know what your business is worth? You have any idea what your business is worth? All right? And so that most small business owners really don't. And some of them, they're going to give you a number just because they're not embarrassed to say something. But almost always they're wrong. And so that opens a door. Even the person's not interested in selling right now, he goes into a separate sequence. he is still. See, man, that's why I say you don't focus on the business loan now, because you want to thoroughly sequence out the M&A part, the finder part, to make sure he absolutely is not interested in selling right now. You bring it all the way to an end. Once that's done, he goes on a different list. Now it makes sense, because you've already explained to him through the sequence the various services you provide. Now it makes sense to put him in a different bucket, because now he's not in the I'm ready to sell my business today bucket. He's now back over on the other side. So now, and if you did this right, he was even responding if you did a call to action on each service you talked about after that. So for example, for the next few days, we're going to talk about the various services we provide. So if insurance is one of them, that would be, if that's your main business, if customer financing, and at the, or business financing. And so at the end of each one of those, there's a call to action. So he may not be in the I'm ready to sell my business today, but he responds to the customer financing part, however I am, and he responds because you did the call to action on the third email. I hope this is making sense to you, all right? But it starts with getting the first email out, which most of you have not done. I've not got, and certainly I can tell you, you don't want to send this stuff out without me reviewing it. Very, very important, okay? So hopefully that'll help you. I hope it did. It made sense to me. Hoping it made sense to you. All right. And so let's get on the ball. See if you can get an email out today. Because if you don't get it out today, you're going to be running into to the weekend, and you don't want to do that. You really don't, because that's going to kick you back into not Monday, because you don't want to send an email on Monday if you can help it, because it gets cluttered with all the other emails he's gotten over the weekend, which means you're talking Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. All right, deeper in, and the further you get deeper in now, the less response you're going to get, just by the sheer fact that you're not as important versus the other thing that's going on in his life, such as Christmas at this point. All right, guys, if you have any questions, just text me and we'll go from there. Bye-bye.